Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is final round coverage of the 2021 North Umpqua Invitational. Round 2 is final round. These are 27-hole rounds out at beautiful Whistler's Bend Park. I'm Scott Withers, and I'm here with Jeff Korns.
What's up, Scott? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. We're getting a little early morning audio in, so excuse us if we're still a little groggy this morning. But exciting round to watch here. After round 1, I'm at 13 under, Chris Nelson 9 under, and then Bryan Peterson and newly turned pro Zachary Crist are both at 7. So it should be a fun watch.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see right now, you're a 3-time champion of this event, and you are looking for your 4th title today.
Yeah, I want to win them all. Whistler's is my favorite place in the world. Chris obviously is pushing us everywhere we go around the state right now, so he is an exciting, I'm not even going to call him an up-and-comer, he's an established pro now. Bryan Peterson from Eugene has been around Oregon for a while, and I would say that 987 rating at the time of this event is, maybe a little lower than Bryan should be. And then Zach Crist is a brand new up-and-coming pro from Southern Oregon, and he has a lot of potential.
And here is the man.
Yeah, Zach, the best assistant TD you're ever going to find. We're going to jump right into the action. 268 feet, hole 1 at Whistler's, and this is the must-get hole on this course. We're teeing off at probably like 10:30 local time. For this tournament, the pros go off before the AMs because of how long this course takes to play and for pace of play reasons and everything. So I'm lining up a Crystal Challenger on this first gotta-get birdie hole.
Yeah, you're going to see most players go putter or mid on this hole. It's kind of really your comfort level, and you just got to keep it close, not give yourself too much work on the first hole, and you put it right next to the basket.
Yeah, you don't want to putt on this. If you can hear the audio, Zach is announcing the home courses of all of our players today, and Chris is representing Greenway Park in Beaverton, I believe.
Yeah, there's a lot of players out of the Greenway Park area. Not the most difficult course in the world, but the training grounds of many talented Oregon disc golfers.
Yeah, I think it's it's kind of nice to have those little putter courses in your hometown when you're learning to play, to kind of develop the backhand form with putters and then mids, and then you can move on to higher speed stuff. Bryan, originally from the Reno area and has moved up to Oregon since, and is based out of Eugene now, but super solid player, good righty backhand, throws lefty backhand also. He might bust that out today, and then has a really nasty righty forehand as well.
Yeah, when I first met Bryan, I was playing collegiate disc golf against him in University of Nevada, Reno, and everyone talked about his just massive forehand that he has. And I saw it a little bit, and then once he moved up to Eugene, it basically disappeared, and he was like, it's not really sustainable for my body. I try to limit it as much. He's like, I'm going to learn how to throw lefty, and I'm going to be the first, want to be one of the first 1,000 rated ambidextrous players.
And he is, and he's an incredible putter, too, from especially that, 25 to 45-foot range. He spins them in a lot. Not talking about Zach Crist's drive there, but he absolutely parked it. Chris has a little cleanup here. You'll see these first few baskets out at Whistler's, the first half of the course, are in need of replacement. They're not great. It's something that the club has been working on to try to get some funding to replace it, but there's not a ton of help from the Parks Department, so we just kind of deal with it. And then you get to the back half of the course, and we have all Pro 28 disc catchers, so it makes a pretty big improvement.
Yeah, but nice, easy little start off there for the card. This is the easiest hole on the course, averaging 2.34 for the pro field. You got to get this one.
Yeah, you got to get it, but we immediately jump into a couple wooded holes that are not at the easiest hole on the course. Hole 2, not incredibly hard, but it has 2 very distinct lines. I'm going to take the forehand line. Basically, you just got to be wide enough to not hit any trees, and that one got maybe a little sneaky on the inside, but it still gets up onto the green. Or you can choose the backhand hyzer line that you can kind of see in this frame.
Yeah, those 2 big trees with the down log between it kind of frame up the backhand hyzer gap. But you went Crystal Raptor, I think there, right? So most players are probably going fairway driver speed, and when you have this shot, Bryan is comfortable throwing that lefty backhand.
Yeah, he pushes it a little straight. Chris made the adjustment from hitting the trees on the left in round 1 and threw a good shot here. I think I like the righty forehand on this line better than the lefty backhand, but I don't play with a lot of left-handed players at Whistler's. I will say Whistler's is a very right-hand friendly course.
Definitely have to agree with you on that. Brian's got a long outside look at this and just gets stuff there under the basket.
Yeah, no shame in par on this hole. I mean, you would like to get it, but the collection area is kind of down here where Bryan and Zach went, and it's just, it averages probably, let me look at the stats real quick, it averages 2.95 in the MPO field, so you're not really losing a stroke to the field if you don't get this hole averaging right at par.
No, and it's just a handful of birdies, small handful of bogeys, lots of pars on the hole.
Yeah. Chris cleans up his birdie to go 2 for 2 to start. Zach and Bryan will tap in their pars, and I have not putted yet, which is a good sign. You can see my Crystal Raptor right there on the ground tapping in. It's a really good feeling to start when you have a 4-shot lead in the round, and then you have 27 holes, but you can start without having to putt on the first 2 holes and get birdies on both. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. You have that room to give away a couple strokes, but holding on and keeping the pace is the way you want to do it.
After 2 holes, I'm 2 under for the round. Chris is 2 under for the round, and the other 2 are at 1, so nothing hurt to start. Hole 3 and 4 to me are, I will say, separation holes. This hole 3 is 300 feet dead straight, and I struggle with this shot sometimes. Got just inside the tree there, but still fades off left, and that's not necessarily the putt that you want. However, I'm not throwing an upshot like last round, so that's nice.
Yeah, you kind of want to go as straight as you can and just have good speed control, a little fade at the end. It's pretty straight hole. Yeah.
Really good out of Chris. And then sometimes you yank your drive to the right and it doesn't hit anything, and that's how you get absolutely parked on this hole.
Absolutely.
Zach going with something. Yeah, some kind of MVP putter.
Following Brian's line, see if he got as lucky as Bryan.
Look at the collection area. Those are some good drives. If Zach's the farthest one out here at like 27 or 28 feet, you can't capitalize, but that's a really good set of 4 drives on this. There we go. 3 for 3. You can't ask for more when you get the lead. Like stepping up, having 2 tap-ins, and then being able to knock down a 25 to 30 footer. It's big confidence building, and this course gets hard real quick. You don't want to be bleeding strokes out in these first few holes, so to go through them and pick them up, it kind of sets you up for success for the rest of your round.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're only giving up strokes to people who potentially are getting aces, so you're not really losing strokes on the field at all right now.
No. We go from hole 3, which averaged almost 0.2 of a stroke under par, to a hole averaging almost 0.3 of a stroke over par, and now we have 3 straight holes that don't play under par on average. This hole's 260 feet, but there's just not much of a gap. You're throwing forehand. Well, that wasn't good. Theoretically, you're throwing forehand through this gap over the cross tree or some kind of turnover and just hoping it feeds down to the basket. But there's, you see, Chris missed it by a foot and now has a tough scramble for par.
Yeah, this is a hole where you might get a couple of birdies on, but it's easier to rack up a larger number, and I don't mean like a really large number, but double bogeys potentially in play if you really get yourself into trouble. And if you don't scramble well, bogey's going to happen.
Inside, got a putt. All right.
Yeah, so Zach misses inside, and that's okay. That's going to get all the way down there. You're going to see where Chris and I are at here, and this is not... It's not fun trying to make par from here because it just doesn't quite shape to get anything on the green. He throws a pretty good shot and squirts out to maybe 30, 25 or 30, but he'll have a chance for par. These are just... It's always a forehand up shot, and it's always awkward.
Yeah. We kind of talked about it a little bit in round one, but a lot of this course terrain-wise, especially on the greens, reminds me of De La. You have hard-packed dirt, you have uneven putting surfaces where you can get rollaways, and this is like another one where speed control is a factor, and it's terrifying to approach the basket if you're not throwing on comfortable angles.
Yeah, there's no flat ground out here outside of hole 1. That's kind of the only one that you're going to have a flat putting surface and not have to worry about, like if you hit the cage, it turning around and rolling behind you. Chris saves the par. The best place to hit these baskets, low and left, right in the slot.
Just right over the cage because there's not much of a way for it to come back out.
Yep, Bryan also a good save. It's hard to explain on camera. A hole this short can be so hard to make par on if you don't hit the initial gap.
There's just lots of guardian trees laid down the fairway, and you got to navigate that. And if you don't hit the initial gap, you can be working for the par.
I am, yeah.
For a player like Zach, this is his first time at a big tournament on camera coverage. How much do you think nerves play a part in performance, especially early in a round like this?
I would say a little bit. He probably maybe doesn't have the expectations coming in 5-ish strokes behind you into the round that he's maybe going to be pushing you for a win, but he definitely wants to show a good performance and just keep himself in that cash range, because new pro players can sometimes struggle with that in their first professional appearance. But we're going to kick it off to a sponsor here.
Big thank you to Flight Towel, Upper Park Disc Golf Bags, and then of course Resistance Discs for sponsoring the coverage of the 2021 North Umpqua Invitational. We moved to hole 5, which is my favorite hole on the property, just in terms of like how it plays and the shot you have to throw. 420 feet, dead straight. I will take where that one ended up. It's got to be low and it's got to be straight. I'm throwing an Onyx. Chris is trying to go Halo TL3. And yanks it over to the right, gets a good break to not end up in the North Umpqua River.
Yeah, that one was definitely flirting. This one's got a little drift on it, but a little check at the end.
Money line.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great shot.
Yeah, that skip is going to play well, too. We'll see this a couple times through the round. There's times where it might not look like there's anything, but there are cliff sides. There are all sorts of places you can find yourself in very large amounts of trouble. And down the right side of this fairway is, as you said, the North Umpqua Invitational. You can see it on the right side of the screen there.
Yeah, the river looks so peaceful this time of year because the water level's so low, but trust me, you go off these cliffs and you're going to get all the way down to it. And there's actually a spray painted line on the edge of all these cliff holes for safety reasons, because it is a straight drop off all the way down to the water, and we don't want players getting even close to that. Zach didn't have a whole lot of want in that one. My Onyx went a little deep, so I've got about 30 feet cleanup coming back. And take it, and that's a great start to this round.
Yeah, clean putt, and you were off to a hot start.
Yeah, I mean, 4 through 5 out here is great. Oh, Chris. And that's a bogey for Chris after the errant drive and a decent upshot, but just can't capitalize on that putt. And we talk about it all the time. Putting yourself at 30 feet especially on a course like this, putting-wise, where it gets a little breezy, you can see the trees moving a little bit, nothing's flat, you never have a great stance putting. It's not a recipe for scoring, and whether those are birdie putts or par putts, like 20-footers on these are so much more valuable than putting it at 30 and consistently testing your mental kind of ability to grind out every shot.
Yeah, even the best putters in the world on tour, they miss like one. If you keep giving yourself a putt from 25 plus to the edge of circle one, if you do that, 10 times in a round, you're bound to miss one of those.
Yeah, we don't shoot 100% from 30 feet. It isn't what happens. Like, you might be able to stand in the gym and practice putt and do that, but you get on with these courses, wind comes into play, elevation comes into play, nerves come into play. You can't expect yourself to make all of them, so it's a big key for me to, try to get shots inside 20, because then they really kind of become automatic. What's your play here on hole 6? Because we see a lot of different lines, and we see a lot of different trees.
I like to play I think it's going to be what Chris Nelson's going to throw. He likes the forehand flex up the middle, and I kind of like that just because if I have to hit a gap under that 300-foot range, a forehand's kind of my comfort zone. And, you're just trying to poke it through that gap and give yourself a look and not put yourself in early danger on this hole.
Like that. That
Yeah.
kick to the left is bad.
Yeah, Chris is going Color Glow Firebird here. Oh, he's going with the roller? Did he do that round one?
I think he threw forehand air shot in round 1. I like this forehand roller play. I'm just not very good at it, and I don't get it down on the right angle very often, so I don't try it. But I would say it's one of the more popular plays on this hole, just to guarantee that you actually hit that first gap and your disc is moving up the fairway. Bad spot from Zach, but a pretty good shot to get at least back into play.
Yeah, absolutely. That could have been lots of trouble quickly.
And my specialty with upshots is that little floating Annie forehand. If I have a choice, that's what I'm going to do. Bryan gets a long putt out of his, and again, it just doesn't quite play on camera, but he's probably sitting 5 to 10 feet in elevation below the basket where he's putting from there at 35 or 40 feet.
This is a birdie look for Chris.
Gets it. Needed it, too, after
Yeah,
hole
it's a nice-
5 losing a stroke.
Nice bounce back.
This is a hole that we just talked about. You've played 3 straight holes that averaged over par, and this one's at about 3.1 on a scoring average. But for a 270-foot hole with no out of bounds in the way, it just shows the challenges that Whistler's Bend has and the challenges that really good disc golf courses have, where you don't have to have out of bounds to make things hard.
Yeah, and if you look at the PDGA website and the stats at the end of a round, you're going to see a lot of white area in those little score bars. Pars happen a lot out here. So getting those couple birdies and then avoiding those bogeys is just easy success for a successful round.
Signature hole probably at Whistler's, one of 2 anyways. Hole 7, 375 feet straight down the hill. You're losing tons of elevation here. Chris is going stud straight at it. I'm taking, I'll say, more of the local route and the power play route. I'm going Spike Heiser with a 4-claw force that is super overstable, and that one hits just short of the basket and should end up in the bushes just left. That's the idea to that shot, is to come in just a tiny bit short.
This is probably a rock for Bryan. He's just leaving it down the right side, just kind of like Chris played, but with a little too wide, clipping some cabbage, and he'll just have an up and down approach.
Yeah, both of those are a little probably wide of where they want to be, or at least high of where they want to be. Zach turns it over, and it probably sits. There's a pretty good, it sat down, but there's a pretty good drop-off that comes into play early on that right side compared to the left. All OB shots here go to those 2 flags you could just see in that previous picture, and it's an automatic 4. You're kind of crazy if you're running a putt from the drop zone here.
Oh, absolutely. This drop-off behind the basket is massive. It's right there. You can't not draw metal.
Yeah, I just, on any putt, realistically. So here's where my hyzer came in. This is best case scenario for that shot is those bushes are big and they tend to catch most things that are moving towards them. They're really thick. If you do throw a shot either straight at it or on the hyzer that happens to go around that bush, though, you're all the way down by the water and taking a stroke.
Yeah, you were in a good position as well. No worry about the death putt. Chris picks up the birdie as well.
Yeah, great bounce back. Chris and I both went 2 for 2 on this hole, which, looking at stats, it really surprises me that this hole played under par. And it played at 2.89 for the second round. For round 1, it looks like it played at 2.86. It really surprises me that hole for this whole weekend played as easy as it did.
I can see it because it's just right there. You know, a lot of pro players are throwing that putter or mid-range right up the middle. It's kind of a comfort zone shot for the players. But talk about easy holes. This is one of them.
Chris did not make that look easy. That is not in putting range. That's a really bad shot, and he'll be the first to tell you. I think right out of his hand, he was like, "That's so terrible," and it was.
Yeah, this basket's blind, but Chris ended up left of that big tree, just to the side of that bush. You want to be to the right of that tree. It is between the different 2 trees.
Yep, that one's fine. I was throwing ESP Malta. It's getting a little breezy out here on this day, which will control scores a little bit. Yesterday, shooting 13 under was in really calm conditions. On this day, you could see the trees are moving. It's blowing like 10 to 15 miles an hour at times, and it takes shots like this and kind of carries them offline a little bit. Oh, Zach gets a tree, so we'll see where he ended up.
Chris just choosing to pitch it under the basket and move on. Not a great look.
No, it's a bad feeling on this hole to get up here and not even have a putt. Good cleanup by Bryan, who's quietly putting together a pretty good start. I think Zach got the good kick off the left tree as well. This one, this and hole 1 to me are the 2 holes on the course that you have to get every single time. This one played at 2.45 for the second round, so more than half of the MPO field is getting birdies, and that was including a bogey or 2 also as we're looking at the stats.
Chris will dunk in his par right there as he moves on to hole number 9.
You could see he had the urge after par and that to slam that baby in there, but thought twice about it and was like, I don't want to bounce out of this thing. End up costing yourself another stroke in the long term. It's a lesson that we all have to learn once, is you can't go up there and rage throw the disc in the basket because sometimes it comes out.
Yeah, hole number 9's kind of a bonus birdie, I'd say. It's long. You can't tell it on the camera, but it is uphill. You got to stretch one out on this hole to get up to the green.
Yeah, I went one of my ESP Swirly Tour Series forces, and it looked like it kind of got up there. Bryan gets over the hill on a good line. I think it's the edge of his power probably to get that shot into the circle. Zach doesn't lack power, though. He throws... He's really close to that 500-foot club if he's not in it. I think he could get this backhand there.
Yeah, that looks like that's up in play.
Yep. Do you go air shot here, or do you try to throw a roller?
It kind of depends how I'm feeling, like maybe the time of the year as well. Like this time of the summer with the hard dirt, like roller's going to get up in play pretty easily, and I'm pretty comfortable with the angle. And air shot, I feel like
Come on, baby.
we're asking for a little much sometimes to get the air shot up there consistently.
Sure.
But it puts it in play.
You really do have to be in that kind of 500-foot power club, and honestly in that 500-foot power club, not internet distance, to get putts at this one consistently going up the middle backhand.
Yeah, absolutely. Air shot wise, you know, I'm on a good pull, maybe getting to edge of circle 1, most likely ending up somewhere in circle 2. So
sure, kind of coming down where Chris and Bryan and Zach just did on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have this, as we're going to call Scott's tour level
that's
distance.
so bad.
That was bad. Oh, you can't waste a good drive with a putt like that. It'd been pretty solid with the putter for the first round, and then to start this second round too. And that was that 30-foot distance we were talking about earlier. Like, you just don't make all of them.
Nope.
Oh, God, and the wobbler in for the
Uh-oh.
next one. We call that the Peyton Manning. This is the dead duck going to the basket.
This is Scott Withers low left special.
Yeah, it was low
Not,
center.
not anymore, no. Now there's a crispy spin putt.
Yeah, now it spins towards the basket. I don't know if they go in any more often, but it looks a little better. We are through 9 holes. 27-hole round, obviously, so there's a lot of disc golf to go. I am pumped about a 6-under start to the round, especially when I was leading going into it. Chris and Brian both at 4 is a good start, and Zach is at 1, so we will be back very shortly for the middle 9 of the final round of the North Umpqua Invitational.
Hey guys, Colin here with CH Sports. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to my coverage sponsors. These videos would not be able to come to life without these people's help, so I really appreciate it. There's plans starting as low as $3 a month, and every single dollar helps grow the channel. If you would like to see your name or business listed in the credits of every single one of my videos, please head over to patreon.com/chsports.